As you guys may know, I grew up eating a ton of fast food. I became very addicted to it. My mom was a horrible cook, no offense mom, but I just loved the flavors. There were so many great things about it, the crispy nuggets, the Big Mac, going to McDonald's, Burger King. It was just such a treat for me growing up, especially because my home cooking was not very good. Problem was, I started to learn that fast food was not only not good for me, but it made me feel like absolute crap. But I was so conditioned by celebrities and food porn commercials that I just wanted to eat fast food all the time, and it was very hard for me to get off of it. So the first thing I started to do was learning how to make the food myself, but I still had a craving for it, so I had to use sort of different mind conditioning techniques to get off of it. So come with the journey on me. I'm gonna show you guys how to make my favorite meals from McDonald's, and when you learn how to make these meals, you can basically make any other menu item for yourself, and I find that is the first step to not only getting away from fast food, but getting yourself into the kitchen. Let's go on a journey with my little Rav Vast here, a new instrument that I absolutely love. So of course, the first step to getting excited about cooking is to make your favorite recipes at home first. I think it's insane to try to convince someone that wants to get healthy to eat a salad when they're obsessed with eating burgers. So don't even worry about, people are telling you gotta eat healthy, this and that. No, if you're addicted to fast food, go buy these ingredients and start making something yourself, and you're gonna find that just by making a burger, now you have extra ingredients. Now you actually have some skills and some confidence to learn. I feel like McDonald's, they didn't make the burger famous, but they definitely made it widespread. 60 billion, 11 jillion, they're just always advertising 80 jillion sold. So what I love about the Big Mac is it was the first time I had a burger and I was like, oh my God, this is literally everything. This is the sun, this is the moon, this is the sky, this is just peace on earth. So first you gotta make that Mac sauce, and everyone has their own kind of variation on it, but the Big Mac sauce is amazing because when you make it, you can just put it on anything. My friends and I, Bub and Clay, we used to go to McDonald's and we couldn't afford the Big Mac, so we would get two value little burgers, the $1 burgers, and ask for Big Mac sauce on the side and make our own Big Mac, so rigging the system. So the way I like to make my Big Mac sauce is I do ketchup, mayo, and mustard, usually a little more ketchup than mayo and mustard. That's the base. Then add some pickle relish, but I forgot some, so I just chopped up a ton of pickles and added the pickle juice as well in there. I added some lemon juice, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, a little bit of pepper, and just mix that together. At that point, you're just kind of tasting it. How does it taste? Is it a little too sweet? Does it have a nice amount of creaminess? And if you need more sweetness, add tomato. If you want a little more spice, you can add some mustard, pickles, whatever it is, just kind of balance it out to what feels good for you. I put it in a zip bottle so I can squeeze it on basically anything. So for the burger, there's a couple things that are very important that everyone seems to screw up on. Whenever I see the clone recipes, they make the burger too damn thick. And yes, you can make a thick burger and that's okay, but here's the problem. When you're eating McDonald's burger, everything is so thin that if it's too thick, it just doesn't taste the same. So what I did was I made these little balls from beef, and I'm using 90-10 beef, so it doesn't have too much fat, otherwise it will shrink even more. And I smashed them in some parchment paper, super thin, and then I cook it on medium. I put a little salt and pepper on both sides and cook it on medium. If you cook it too high, McDonald's, they don't necessarily have the grill marks or the caramelization. It's just kind of a cooked, sort of uniform looking brownish burger. So I just kind of cooked that both sides. I realized that one actually shrunk more than I thought. So I made another one even thicker, and it looked kind of insane, but when it actually finally cooked, it shrunk down to the just perfect size. So you cook two of those, like I said, a little salt and pepper, and you have this deliciousness. So now when you're ready to build your burgers, a couple things you need to know. The pickles need to be thin, the onions need to be dehydrated. So get some dehydrated onion chunks, rehydrate them in some hot water. If you're using fresh onions, that's fine, but it's not gonna have the same flavor. It's a very distinct flavor. And you don't want a bread and butter pickle, you want some kind of just sour pickle. Buy your own whole so you can slice it the way you like it. And then you build your Big Mac. You put the bun down, you got your sauce, iceberg lettuce, you can add some cheese, patty, maybe little onions, another bun, which I used actually just a bun from the like the bottom of it, because most places don't sell a triple decker bun experience, which they should maybe, but it's not a big deal. Then you put down some more secret sauce, some lettuce, you can put some pickles on this one, burger, some onions, top it off, and then you have this most fantabulous looking sexy burger that will change the life factor. And once you can make this, you can make so many things. Oh Jesus. That tastes just like a Big Mac. Like, I was worried about the bun because it's a little hearty, but every like level dimension, it's all in my face, I don't give a shit. Every like level dimension with the sauce and the onions, the dehydrated onions are key. Like all these little things are key to get that flavor. So when I was a kid, either I didn't notice it or it just didn't affect me as much. But as I got older, I started hearing that fast food's bad for you. It's obesity and all this stuff. But I was like, yeah, screw it, I'm gonna eat it anyway. My friends and I would go to McDonald's, get a ton of food. It was cheap, it was convenient, and it was just so good. But slowly I started to notice that I didn't feel good. And I think I started to become aware of the fact that like my stomach would really hurt. I'd be stuck in the toilet, I would get heartburn. And it just was not good for me. So this idea of cooking food for myself, it just had to happen. So if you're out there and you're thinking to yourself like, it's convenient, yeah, I get it, but blah, 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 you have all these stories and excuses, please just give it a try. It might seem more expensive to buy the ingredients yourself, but when you really break down the cost, it's about the same when you're buying a bunch of burger meat and a big thing of 6 burger buns. You can make a ton of food. You can even freeze some stuff. You can prep the meats and you can make the burgers yourself. So give that a try. You actually end up spending less time cooking these burgers once everything's prepped than you would driving to McDonald's, getting the food and coming back. The French fries at McDonald's are one of the harder things to exact clone. I've never gotten it perfect. I've been trying lots of different recipes on the internet and nothing seemed to work. But then I came across this one really weird recipe that made almost no sense, so much so that I had to try it. And basically, in the recipe, the guy went and bought frozen fries, and he said because they have dextrose on them, so that's basically like some sugar solution, he was going to use them and then season them himself, but that just felt like cheating to me. So I watched how they made them at McDonald's, and they basically, they blanch them, and then they add the dextrose, and then they dry them, and they freeze them, and then they cook them, and whatever. They have a whole process. So I figured I'd kind of take some different pieces of different processes and see what happened. First thing I did, peel the potato, slice it really thin. The key thing here is you're slicing these super thin strips and then you're cutting them into thin French fries. And McDonald's French fries are insanely thin, so you could get a potato cutter, but also know when you cook them, they're gonna shrink a little bit. And even if you don't get them that thin, it's okay. It's just make a good French fry at the end of the day, salty, greasy stuff. So, what I did was I mixed that in some cold water with some agave, because they're usually using corn syrup, but I couldn't find it at the store I was at, so I had agave. Mix that together, and that kind of just takes out some of the starch, add some of that sweetness to it. I think it was doing something, I'm not 100% sure. So I did that for 30 minutes, strain that off, and then this is the part that gets weird. You take beef broth, I know it's weird, but it gets weirder, soy milk, and some baking powder, mix that together with some ice, and this is this marinade, which the guy on the website claimed that for some reason because they supposedly cook their fries in some sort of beef. Some places say they do, some places say they don't, but some sort of beef fat, it adds that flavor. So I just marinated them in there for a couple hours and just was like, what the hell, why not? What's the worst it gonna do? So then I strain that off and I freeze it. And I froze it overnight, and now I have this bag of frozen French fries. What's cool is you can just make a big bag of them, and then whenever you want some French fries, zip them out. I'm really curious to see how they'll turn out. Because they have a little bit of that marinade sort of frozen on the outside. And all I did was I got my oil up to about 300, dropped them in just for a minute, minute and a half, take them out. They'll start to get flimsy, you don't want them breaking apart. Take them out, I put them back in the freezer just for a few minutes while my oil got up to 375, drop them back in just for another minute. The key here is if you look at McDonald's French fries, they might have a little brown edge, but they don't really brown. So if they start to brown, that's when you gotta get them in and take this son of a bitches out. So get them out. Then next key, a ton of salt. Like I said, they're greasy, salty French fries. So I added a bunch of salt and they were actually delicious. They weren't exactly like McDonald's. They were crispy for about 2 minutes. By the time we got the beauty in the picture, they lost their crispability. But hey, listen, when you're making them at home, maybe you shoot a quick little Instagram thing and that's pretty much all she wrote. Just a quick note, if you click the link below, you can check out my Anchor podcast. I have a podcast all about food, music, good life, good vibes. You can listen in, like I do kind of talk through recipes and all kinds of good stuff. It's just a fun time. Download the app, it's free. You can make your own podcast or radio station. Back to this thing. With the French fries, I always had my barbecue sauce. This is a very, very key, very important thing. To me, barbecue at McDonald's was like the staple of barbecue sauce for many years. It's sweet, it's maybe arguably smoky, it's sticky, it's a little bit spicy, and it's got that molasses brown sugar thing going on. So this is very, very simple. All you gotta do is take a big pot, hit it with a bunch of ketchup as like your base, then a ton of molasses, and you could use brown sugar. I forgot brown sugar, but you could use brown sugar. Then some apple cider vinegar, a little mustard, garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder, cayenne powder, and a little bit of smoked salt or like some kind of smoke powder if you want that smokiness. You could use liquid smoke, but it was never my bag. Then just mix it together and bring it to a boil. Once it's at a boil, all you're doing is tasting it and getting a sense of like, does it have all those things you want? Taste it, like do you taste that spice? No, add some more cayenne or chili powder. Does it need a little more of that vinegar experience? Boom, sweetness, molasses, brown sugar. Just mix and match, have fun. It's so simple. Cooking is not this hard, intimidating thing. I'm just dumping stuff in, pounding things, frying stuff, and I have these insane meals. Always do like the 2 or 3 fry, smash into the barbecue. That's actually kind of the McDonald's vibe. The key is, I even need more salt. Their fries are freaking salty as a mother. Delicious. I find that like they can start out crispy, but usually once you get them in that bag, they get uncrisp in like seconds anyway. I'm impressed though. I don't know what the soy milk did. Maybe it did something, but I can taste a little bit of that beef broth. And it's so subtle, but it like kind of has that McDonald's flavor, which is pretty dope.